back again, page 16. So problem number 15, on the grid shown below, the graph of f of x equals 2 to the x is shown. So remember, f of x is like y equals 2 to the x. So it says on the same grid, create an accurate sketch of this function's inverse. So we could take some of these points. Now, you can tell what the whole number of points are, but what I did was looked on my graphing calculator. I put in 2 to the x, and then I looked on my table. So 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 4, 3, all of those are easy-ish to see on the graph. But these, negative 3.125, negative 2.25, negative 1.5, aren't quite so simple to see. So what I'm going to do is just copy my table down from negative 3 to 3. And then I'm going to write down the y values, just copied from the calculator. So we have that. Now it says create an accurate sketch of the function's inverse. Well, the inverse is where you switch the x and y values. So the y's become the x's. So all I did was flip-flop the x and y. And now I'm going to plot my inverse on this graph. So 0.125 negative 3, it's like so close to that y-axis. Same. This one, 1/2, negative 1, 1, 0, 2. Remember, the inverse of an exponential function is a logarithmic function. That's our inverse right there. Now part B says state the equation of the inverse. So here we have y equals 2 to the x. This is our exponential function. Okay, that's the original one they did for us. What we have to do for an inverse is switch the x and y. Our problem becomes now the y is in the exponent. We have to isolate that. So in order to do the opposite of an exponent, we have to do the inverse, and the inverse is a logarithm. So what we're going to do is put this in logarithmic form. Remember, base exponent equals number. So now I'm going to say log base number equals exponent. That's our equation of the inverse. So over here, if I labeled this, it would be y equals log base 2 of x. And this one would be y equals 2 to the x. Number 16. Given the equal terms cube root of x to the 8 and y to the 4/9, determine and state y in terms of x. So we put hint, solve for y. I see I have a rational exponent here in radical form, so I'm going to put this in radical form. X to the 8/3 equals y to the 4/9. So take a second and see if you can figure out how to get that y by itself. How do you get rid of the 4/9? What we have to do is multiply by the reciprocal and make these cancel out. Whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other. So now we have y equals x to the 72/12. If you do 72 divided by 12 in your calculator, you end up with y equals x to the 6th. So what we just did is determine and state y in terms of x. We solved that for y. Last question on this section is the expression x to the 2/3 raised to the 4th power equivalent to the 12th root of x to the 8th. explain. So equivalent, what I'm going to do is set these things equal to each other. So I'm going to say is x to the 2/3 to the 4th power equal to x to the power over root. So let's see this. I have to distribute that. When I do 2/3 times 4, I'm not multiplying the 4 to the numerator and denominator, just the numerator. So 2 times 4 is 8/3. So is 8/3 equal to 8/12? Nope. So it says explain. I would say the exponents don't match, so they are not equivalent. So I could say, so they're not equivalent. There's a math symbol, 3 dots in a triangle shape. That means therefore. Just a little shorthand, if you ever see that in college. And that's it. Make sure you do the delta math practice. It's a lot of just straight up arithmetic practice.